I just can't find that bag.
I'm sipping, 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 I'm sipping. Sipping, I'm 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 sipping. Sipping, I'm 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 sipping.
This is Sippin' with Sammy. I am Mr. Fly Shit Only, the one and only Sippin' with Sammy. Sam Malone, Barstool Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammy, you ain't sippin' right. Please get your fucking life together.
Damn, Sammy, you done. Damn, Sammy, you done. Damn, Sammy, you done fucked up.
Yup! What's up with y'all, man? Happy Monday, happy hour, all that flyness. I hope everybody had a great weekend and a good Monday, as usual. If not, let's have some fun and maybe make it a little better this evening together. If you are in the chat, please tap in. Let us know you there, man. Comment. Let us know how you feel about the topics. Like, comment, subscribe, share, as usual. And I'm going to get to my sponsor and be right back. This is Sippin' with Sammy, Sam Malone, Barstool Rug here with Rich Jewels, the official sponsor of the Sippin' with Sammy podcast. Tap in with Rich Jewels, male or female jewelry, black owned, small business. Tap in with Rich Jewels, Sippin' with Sammy approves. And I do. Also, being that it's Monday, I got Kay with me. What's up, Kay?
Hey. Hey Sam, I got a surprise for you.
That hey was weak. What's the surprise?
Hey. Was that better?
A little better.
Okay. So we are officially live vertically and horizontally at the same time on YouTube.
Oh, all right.
So now there's 2 ways to tune in, 2 ways to watch. I recommend using the horizontal, the normal stream if you're casting to your TV, but check out that vertical stream if you're on your phone.
So we got 2 chats or 1?
We got 1 chat. You can only chat on the horizontal.
All right. I'm still learning. We gotta go live on TikTok too one time.
Yeah, that's next. So I think if we'll see how YouTube vertical goes, and now that I know I can stream vertically from our software, I might be able to transition the secondary stream off of YouTube and over to TikTok. But we'll see if that's worth it. So.
All right, cool. So how are you today?
You know, I'm doing well.
Are you doing well?
Yes. How are you, Sam?
I'm decent. What kind of shirt is that you have on?
Oh, so this is a special, hold on, let me adjust my camera view so y'all can see it. This is a special Fishtown basketball jersey, made in the style of Temple University's jerseys. It was a special collaboration between the Fishtown District and Temple University to celebrate Coach Fisher's first complete season.
Cam up. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's designed by Double Fish Inc., who's a local designer out here. But really, it's just hot in here, and I needed something else without sleeves.
Solid. Thought you was repping for your set or something, you know what I'm saying? Thought you was getting your thing off, so I was trying to let you do your thing.
No, I wasn't. I didn't plan on playing.
So they playing on playing. I hear that. So, weekend was good?
Yeah, man, weekend was good. Are you going first or am I?
You are going first on the weekend, because I don't remember mine.
Okay. So, I don't remember Friday. Oh, Friday we filmed.
Yeah.
Friday we filmed, and then I'll let you talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, I mostly spent the day doing stuff around the house, cleaning the front yard, those types of things. And then Sunday, my dad came into town, and we went to the Phillies game.
Awesome. Shout out to the big homie.
Yeah. Which it ended up being a great game to go see. It went into extra innings. Unfortunately, we did not win, but, you know.
It was a great game.
Yeah, it was a good game. We had plenty of chances to win, but sadly couldn't pull it out. So, but it was great to see my dad either way. So shout out to him.
Love. Yeah, my weekend was pretty uneventful. Except for probably Friday. We filmed with Get Money Dro. Shout out to Get Money Dro, and potted with him. And then right after that, C Cash came through, and we I had tapped in with him for a bar breakdown with Married to the Bars. Shout out Married to the Bars, man. Let's do this for them. Married to the Bars is a couple in battle rap that vlogs on battle rap. They speak about battle rap. The bar breakdowns is one of the biggest things that they do that I think is dope, because a lot of battle rap fans don't like to admit that they didn't understand everything everybody reacted to.
Right.
And some of this stuff really goes over your head. And like to hear the perspective of the person that wrote it, like why they wrote it, or like there was a time where C Cash was like, oh, that was a double entendre, and I was like, that was actually a triple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just ain't even dig it. You know what I mean? So it's a dope conversation to have, and Cash is actually really, really good at it because he remembers everything and he never loses track of where he let off at. I guess that's a battle rap
I was
gift.
gonna say that's definitely a battle rap talent, because I cannot say the same.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, we be cutting him off and all type of shit. You go right back to the, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But we had a great time with them. They showed a lot of love. They shouted you out.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, she
I heard
said
that.
you held her down. So it was just dope. Being on there for a couple hours. Actually got to get in an argument with somebody on there as usual.
An argument?
Nothing serious. Another battle rapper tapped in and just to hate on Cash was saying that the other guy won the battle that he clearly lost. And then we realized that this is the guy that's in the battle by like bar 8 telling the other nigga he won already.
Oh, he's the one in the background that was gassing him up the whole time. Because that was like one of the
Yeah.
first things that Cash talked about in the bar breakdown was, I just want to let y'all know.
Yeah.
The crowd was gassing him.
He was one of them, man. I forget homie name, but he had a boxing match the next day.
But from what I heard,
He beat somebody the fuck up.
from what I heard of both the bar breakdown and actually watching the battle, I don't know. I think Cash won.
Nah, Cash clean ball.
I think Cash won pretty clearly.
Homie could rap, but his levels to it. And
Yeah.
I don't be wanting to say that just because it's my folk, but like when it comes to transitions, when it comes to like, Cash don't waste no words. He was arguing with OG Capri, who fought D Money the next day, and it's a 3-minute fight. It's on Married to the Bars Instagram and YouTube. It's not a good looking fight for either side, but he beat the shit out of the boy D Money, and Stiz is refereeing it. But we'll get to that later. But no, like I think the conversation that was had was dope. I think even though OG Capri came in on some op shit, he was cool about it. Like we
Part of the
started
sport.
we started joking, and he was super cool. So shout out OG Capri. He also like I made him cam up. He had the wife beater on. I cracked a couple jokes. The cam went back off. Like he was a good sport. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly, like I said, that platform is dope, and they show us a lot of love, and they work hard. So salute to them, man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of them.
Shout out to C Cash.
They're a really dope couple.
Yeah, shout out C Cash for having me on there, because even with the like being on there part, like he wanted me to talk. You know what I'm saying? He wanted my input more often than a lot of times when you watch these Jones and they got the homie next to him and he just smoked the whole time unless he get mad.
Right.
He ain't want me to be one of them. So he had a good time.
I mean, while we're talking about it, if you are somebody in Philly and we know you and you have an interview and you need somewhere to host it at, tap in with us. We might be able to host you over here and get you situated. So let us know.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was Saturday I chilled, Sunday I chilled.
So that was your whole weekend.
Yeah, I ain't really get too crazy this weekend. That I can remember. No, I think.
Well,
I
you
was
were still
chilling.
recuperating from your birthday weekend last time, so.
But I was supposed to still be partying, so there goes that. But it's cool.
That's called being 42.
No, it ain't. Party must continue. It ain't over. You think it's over? It ain't over. Nah, but definitely had a great time on Friday with that. I was roasted by the end of that. We were supposed to do an hour. I think we did 2.5 hours with them after doing an hour with Dro.
Yeah.
I was pretty what they call 3 sheets to the wind. I was out there. But yeah, next up is what? NBA playoffs?
Is that where you want to go next?
I mean, I'm gonna let you do it. Where you wanna go? You made the list, so I don't know. Like,
Well, I thought since you just talked about Married to the Bars, we could go straight into battle rap boxing and talk about that quick.
all right, let's do it.
Good.
Let's
'cause
do it. Let's
that
do
gives
it.
me an excuse to go check the sound.
Let's do it. So, and I'm pulling up. Oh shit, he right there too. I'm going to Angry Fan real quick because, as far as I know, he's made more announcements about this event than anybody. But Shotgun Suge is putting together an event. Gloves Up. What Your Life Like presents Guns Up. I can't see the small writing. But it says Battle Rap Boxing live pay-per-view fall 2024. From what I'm hearing, I believe the date is October 26th. That's been getting thrown around. It might be a tentative date, so don't hold that on me. But so far what I'm seeing is you got Av versus Suge, which Rosenberg said he wanted Av, but Suge set him up for himself. So Rosenberg is supposed to be boxing Fines. Mike P is supposed to be boxing Muslim Poppy. Gwitty is boxing Stiz. And I think that's all I got so far. But with that alone, I'm excited. Sound like a good card to me. And
I mean, I have feelings.
You should have feelings. You're human.
No, I have feelings about battle rap turning to boxing in general.
I'm listening.
So there's been a history of fighting
And almost fighting.
in battle rap. And this happens often, like when battles or the promo, usually not even the battle itself, but when the promo starts to get a little too heated and too many, personals get involved or things like that, fights happen. So I think there was always this like kind of culture or mantra that like, no, it needs to be settled with words, like the same kind of hip hop values, like settle it over a track, that type of thing, which I really appreciated about battle rap. So now to take those same personalities and be like, let's just pay them to fight each other. Like, first off, a lot of these people can't fight.
No, but that's part of it. That's what Rosenberg was even saying. He was like, y'all get to see if we can fight. And for real, y'all really just want to sit there and laugh and say that nigga can't fight.
Right.
He was like, that's the entertainment value of it. We know what y'all watching for. And Rosenberg does not plan on training, even though he has muffs.
Right.
Gwitty is not watching none of Stiz footage, even though Stiz has training footage out there and he's supposed to be nice with it. Oh yeah, Danny Meyer's supposed to be boxing too. But the thing that is different about what pertaining to what you were saying about it, about settle it with words.
Mm-hmm.
From what I'm hearing and seeing on this card, none of these guys got a problem with each other in real life.
Right.
So it's a little different
That
because
helps.
it's more of a sport at that point. But also, it's like 50 Cent. Do you know how to promote anything else without getting too serious and getting too personal? Or
Right.
do you know how to hype yourself up without getting too personal? Like,
Right.
but it's supposed to be 3 1-minute rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Which, all right.
That's doable considering the stamina of the men we're talking about.
I mean, half the card is yeah.
I mean,
gonna have a hard time getting through the ropes.
I was gonna say, all but like 2 people on the card are obese.
So it's gonna be a little different. But you're fucking with a heavyweight.
There's gonna be some flopping. Like it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be so floppy. We might see a beached whale that night.
I have my money on a beached whale.
You betting on beach whale?
If that is
Beach
on my
whale?
betting slip, beach whale.
All right. Over under beach whale, sea lion.
No, that's a whole beluga. That is a whole beluga.
But it will be interesting though to see who does train and take it seriously, because if I train and my opponent don't, that's a little crazy.
Right.
And I mean, even if like you think your hands is nice, boxing and fighting is all about your win.
Mm-hmm.
Like skill means a lot, but you gotta be able to breathe and think while getting hit.
Right.
So at least do some cardio, I guess. It makes me think of buttons in basketball. I just seen the highlights from that. Shout out to Trizzy, that was crazy.
Oh man. So before we get too far, I do have a correction to make. There is a live chat on the vertical version. I just can't bring it into our software. So if you're in the vertical video, feel free to sound off in the chat, and I will read it out loud.
Appreciate you for that.
Speaking of, we did have one comment already, and this burns my soul to read, but it says, from Lit420, Trump 2024.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Hey, man.
But for the other 18 of you who are currently in here, please sound off in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know you're here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to y'all for being here.
Absolutely.
But no, I'm really excited about battle rap boxing. Like, I think that one, like, yeah, we really do want to see who can fight. Like, we got an idea of a handful of people that we know is probably nice with their hands, right?
But I don't mean to cut you off, but I have a follow-up.
Okay.
So, say you can't fight.
I think Tay-Rock supposed to be in it too.
And say you have a reputation for almost getting in fights, but not actually throwing hands. And then you do a boxing
Then
battle.
I'm definitely trying to box.
And you suck. Is that going to damage your reputation when it comes to spitting bars as well?
Well, yes, right? Now, if you put up a good fight, everybody respects a good fight. If you go out bad, you go out bad. It is what it is, right?
Right.
But you could lose a good fight and still have a lot of respect.
Sure.
But a major component in battle rap when it comes to street battle rap and urban black people care about it battle rap is believability.
So not King of the Dot?
No, King of the Dot, you don't have to like I make them believe that I know more Pokemon than my opponent. Like, it's not the same thing.
Hey, that's important. You got to catch them all.
But I guess there's a level of believability to that. But I'm talking about on this side, it's more of like bravado and gangster and I wish a motherfucker would. So it would worry hard on your believability. Like, you could never tell somebody I knock you out. Like, you can't do it. Niggas would be like, they'll just start shouting out your fighting opponent name. Like, you know how, like, when somebody fucks somebody up and then they start talking crazy to somebody else and the person be like, yo, I'm not dumb, yo. You seen what he did to you, right?
Right.
Don't talk to me like that. You see what he did. Like, I think it's one of them, like, on some real. So it could affect their battle rap career. Certain people might not matter as much. And others this might be another revenue stream for them.
So I think that Stiz versus Gwitty is the one I'm most excited about.
Yo, I'm scared for Gwitty.
I'm very scared for Gwitty, and that's why I'm excited, because I don't like Gwitty. not that I know
Nasty.
him. I don't know him personally.
The album.
I just don't like him.
Might name my album.
He's one of those, he's one of those personalities you love to hate. So I'm excited to see him get his ass whooped by Stiz.
Well, just like wrestling and stuff like that, battle rap does have heroes and heels, and he's a heel and he leans into it. Like,
yes.
And he's very good at that. Actually, he's very good at that. But Stiz is 6'5" and got hands.
Right. Like, I don't know anybody in battle rap who would want to fight Stiz.
And he from Philly, so if he hit the bag nice, so y'all see him doing all of that, just realize that a slip game is in there too. He got a little bit of Floyd because he from Philly. Like, you gotta have a slip game if you from the crib. So I'm excited about the whole thing. I need Gilly to throw a $20 card. And I need this one. And I'm good. I don't even need no real professional boxing. If I can get these next couple... If y'all ain't going to give me the fights I want to see in boxing, let me see the amateurs act crazy. Seriously. I'm with it. I'm 100% with it.
Well, that's a decent enough segue to get into some sports topics.
Let's do it.
So since we were just talking about fights, might as well talk about this one.
Oh, man. Now, you didn't see this fight.
No, I did not.
Who was the opponent? How you pronounce his name?
His last name is, like, Zhang, I want to say?
Zhang. Yeah. Matter of fact, you know what's crazy? Everybody was pronouncing it different that day.
Oh. Okay. I don't feel as bad now.
No. They was saying it wrong. Why are you doing it? That's crazy. I'm seeing that we live with all this going on. All right, so I watched the fight, right? Because I didn't watch it live. I watched it, like, 30 minutes later.
Okay.
Because I was watching something on YouTube and a joint popped up that was reacting to the fight.
Gotcha.
And I started listening and I'm scrolling, like, trying to see if I could find a highlight, and I found the whole fight. And it was like 22 minutes or something, so I watched it.
Okay.
Very boring fight. Fight was boring. I don't know how many they was throwing around, but like they counted Wilder for some jabs that, I mean, you could call them jabs, but he wasn't trying to hit nobody, and I don't even know if he was trying to create space sometimes. And then they was landing like 3 to 5 shots around a piece. Which is like, if you know heavyweights, certain style heavyweights, that's how it usually goes, especially in the early rounds, because you slip up once, you got this full power monster across from you that can knock you clean the fuck out, right?
Right.
And a knockout may last longer than one night for a lot of people. So you got to be careful about that. But it was just like, it was boring. And then it got to the point where Wilder started being an aggressor. Zhang started going back. They going back and forth. And Wilder gets hit. And he turns his back. I don't know what he was looking for. But when he turned back around, he got clean. Pow!
And that's when he got knocked out.
Down goes Wilder. Yeah, and it was over after that.
Zay Soul in the chat said, "Bro, Wilder need out of boxing."
He said if he lost this fight that he was retiring, but a lot of people say that to put pressure and eyes on fights, and it might mean he's considering it, but it don't mean that's his final decision. But yeah.
And then he said, "Looks like he wanted a way out."
He probably did. And you know what's crazy about Wilder? He always had this powerful knockout right that was like Thor's hammer or some shit, right? But he never, like, started boxing late. So he never really had a lot of the skills that you developed growing up. And like they said, when you went through the Olympics as a youngster and all of that, just the stuff that you go through, he never really developed any of that. And throughout his career, he was knocking people out, and he would lose to Tyson Fury, and beat Tyson Fury, and lose to Tyson Fury. And it was like, yo, if he ever get his fucking feet right and his if he actually learned how to box,
right,
he never learned it. We talk about him retiring and he still never did it. He went through his whole career relying on that right and waiting until somebody let him get it off.
Speed commented a bunch of cigarette butt emojis, which I'm thinking means smoked.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looked like, man. It was bad out there. It was bad. But like I said, it wasn't a long fight, and I like fights. So even and that's the thing, it wasn't really like even a good defensive fight. It was like they just both were sizing each other up. And then he went night-night. And that makes me think, like, all right, so if I'm being super cautious for 5 rounds in a row, and I get knocked out anyway.
Right.
I had the wrong strategy this whole time. I should have been just got this over with or tried to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a mattress.
Yeah.
No, man, I don't like it. But no, hopefully everything's good with him. I'm pretty sure if anything was messed up after the fight, we would have found out. I don't think he has any neurological damage that's immediate or anything. So, salute to him, man. He made a lot of money in his career, and he'll be able to make a decision not based out of desperation, and that's a beautiful position to be in as a fighter.
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful position to be in.
Absolutely. And I mean, even, to be able to have a long-standing career in and of itself and have people know your name as a fighter, like, that's no easy feat for sure.
Just like we talk about battle rap, man. These the best fighters in the world for real.
Absolutely.
Give or take a few randoms, but yeah, for real.
All right. Well, let's get into the NBA playoffs.
Oh, what you want to talk about, man? Ain't nothing going on right now. I'm a little salty. Got a couple more days before some action. I think Thursday, right?
Yeah. But we got to catch the people up on what happened last week. So if you weren't paying attention, the Celtics swept the Pacers, and then the Mavericks beat the Timberwolves 4-1.
Yeah, I'm about to say they won in 5, right?
Yep. So that means the final matchup will be the Celtics and the Mavericks, and that is set to begin on Thursday. What are your predictions? What are your thoughts? What should we be looking forward to in this series?
I think it's going to be a great series. You're talking about top tier 1-2 punches on both sides. You got a Jalen and a Jason, and then you got a Dirk and a Kyrie. And then, I mean, both teams have a lot of other pieces. The 3rd, 4th, 5th best players on both teams are tough.
Right.
So it's like, you're going to have action. But one thing that I've always said about Boston, and this is the first year I've been hearing a lot of other people say it, I guess they finally was convinced. Like, Boston always gives up a game
Yeah.
or two.
Yeah.
And knowing that, I got Dallas winning.
Mm-hmm. You got Dallas winning overall.
I got Dallas winning all seven. I mean, best out of seven, because when it comes down to it, Dallas is going to win the games they supposed to win. They're going to lose the ones they supposed to lose. They're not going to give Boston a game. I got Boston doing it. They've done it damn near every series except the one they just swept.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely true.
And Kyrie is on fire right now.
I personally think that the Celtics are going to scrape this out. I think it's going to go to 7, but I think the Celtics will actually end up on top. So that's my prediction.
About a case of potato chips on it?
Yeah, we could bet some potato chips.
Mm-hmm. I said a case of potato chips. Don't be cheap.
A case of potato chips.
Yeah,
How
like
many
the
is in a
The
case?
supermarket box.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
We got it.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair to say.
Yep.
So you got Boston winning. What are you looking forward to? What do you think is going to be?
Now, let me be clear. I don't want Boston to win. At all chances, I will root against Boston. I just think that at the end of the day, they have the lower amount of injuries as a squad. I think that Dallas has had a tougher road through the playoffs, and I think that they're hurting a little bit in a way that Boston isn't. I think Boston has been flying high and really not having too tough of matchups to get to this point. So I think that they're coming off of a high confidence sort of position, and I think that they're going to be able to carry that through. Yes, they're going to give up games. Yes, it's going to go to 7. But I think that this is the Celtics' year to win, as much as I don't want them.
Now, both teams got a lot of rest at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because both series ended relatively early.
Yeah.
Luka, towards the middle of last series, wasn't looking hurt no more.
I agree with you, but I don't know how much of that was also like Luka angst, because he was looking real angsty towards the end of that series. Like,
No, he was pissed, especially that game they lost. He was sick.
yeah. So
Game 4.
I don't know how much of that is just like all that adrenaline, kind of like, no, you're not. And to be fair, that same adrenaline can hit again for this upcoming series. So maybe, maybe you're right. Like, Luka's not hurt anymore, and or even if he is hurt, he's not going to let it affect his play. But, I think that remains to be seen.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a good series. I'm looking forward to it. Congratulations to both teams for making it to the finals. Nothing to be sneezed at, no matter how easy they tried to say the Celtics' road was to the finals. It's like, man, there's NBA players against NBA players, yo.
Right.
And injuries and stuff happen. It's part of sports. So I'm not even going to do the due diligence to see if that's true or not. It's just stupid at this point. To me.
I agree.
To me. We're going to talk about Hacker Clark.
Yeah, let's talk about Hacker Clark. Let me find there we go.
You like that, Hacker Clark?
I did. When you sent that to me, I actually very much so appreciated it.
Hilarious.
So,
hilarious.
Something that we actually reported on last week was talking about the foul against Angel Reese, and how that's kind of indicative of some of this back and forth that's been going on in the WNBA between the new breakout stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, versus some of the household names of the WNBA who have been there for a long time. And, how these newer players are kind of getting to skip the queue when it comes to different types of endorsements, playing time, all of that stuff, just purely, from their perspective due to their stardom. So this past week, there was a game between Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky. So this is Caitlin Clark's team versus Angel Reese's team. I hate, saying it like that,
but great game, by the way.
It was a great game. Definitely worth watching. And what happened was during the game, the ball was out of bounds. It was about to be inbounded by the Fever. And before the ball could even be inbounded, a player, Kennedy Carter, I believe is her name, from Chicago Sky, totally shoulder drops Caitlin Clark, and she goes down to the floor, again, before the ball even comes into play. So eventually this call was first escalated to a flagrant 1, and then after the game was actually escalated to a flagrant 2. But yeah, there's been a lot of talk about this foul and a lot of reaction to it. So with that, what are your thoughts about what's going on right now in the NBA?
First question for you, flop or not?
I think it's partial flop. I think she had been getting roughed up all game long. So if somebody's gonna dig their shoulder into you before the ball comes in bounds, you're gonna fall down.
I think it was just a smart. I think it was two things. I think she was caught off guard, and I think that if you're in a position where you're losing balance, you just go with it so you don't hurt yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you know how to fall.
Yeah. Well, and
So-
she's 5'10", right? Like,
Yeah, and I'm exaggerate the fact that you just touched me,
yeah.
because they might not be paying attention because it's before the ball.
She's 5'10". It's not like Embiid falling to the ground. Like,
Yeah, it's way
It's-
different.
yeah.
She's way more compact. She's built like a regular tall woman,
yeah. I mean,
Like,
she's built like an athlete. Don't get me wrong, but she's.
but like compared to the girls that's been laying the smackdown on them,
Yeah. No.
they like half of their size.
Yeah.
Even Angel.
So another thing that was interesting about this foul is when you view it from the wide-angle camera view, you can also see Angel Reese on the sidelines actually jump up and celebrate the
As she should.
intensity of what's going on.
As she should.
What do you mean by as she should?
I mean, if my teammate is out there going hard, I'm supporting. I don't care like the situation and none of that. It's like after somebody, after my man get fouled, when he jump up, he like, yeah, he might not even made the shot. If he turning up, I'm turning up, because you ain't hurt and we about to knock these two down and you go try to dunk on them next play again. Like, I'm turning up with my teammate regardless. I'm not even mad at Angel for that. And Angel is the one that got hurt the week before and said, I'm an athlete. It's not just because I'm a rookie. I'm a basketball player. I want them to play me hard. It comes with the territory. I'm good with it.
Right.
So she probably, even though it wasn't excessive foul, I'm not going to lie about the nature of the foul. But I'm turning up too, man. Fuck that. Most you going to do is get ejected or get a tech. But, like, if we got to set a precedent and that's what you trying to do, not just bully, but, like, let it be known, like, this is how we coming, then that's how we rolling. You the veteran. I'm back in your play.
So a lot of media personalities in sports,
I might joke with you, like, yo, go light on, not too much on my homegirl, but, you know.
A lot of media personalities in sports, especially this week, have been saying that Caitlin Clark needs an enforcer. Somebody on her team to kind of step up and take those blows and take the attention off of her in a physical way. So what do you think about, I guess, the idea of female enforcers in general? Because it's not something that we often talk about in female sports, but it's definitely a reality. So yeah, what's your thought on that?
I was about to say they exist. They definitely exist. The girl that grabbed Angel by the throat, that's how she get down. She one of them. But I've never seen in any high level of men's basketball somebody bully the star and nobody gets in their face. I've seen guards jump in big men's faces. I've seen Draymond choke people. I've seen all type of stuff. I never seen, and I'm from Philly. I watched, and I always said this about the Sixers when AI was on the team. If AI hit the ground, somebody else got smacked on the other end of the court the very next play. It was mandatory.
So do you think that this somewhat points to a little bit of separation between Caitlin Clark and the rest of her team?
I think that it makes it seem that way. It really looks like they're not cohesive with her. They're not backing her play. It looks like, all right, you the star, handle it. And I don't like that because y'all got to go through a season together and multiple seasons together if she chooses to keep you.
Right.
Because she's going to have say in that front office one way or another. She's the moneymaker.
That is true.
So I thought that you always at least do the joint where you run up and push them like this Like, yo, what you doing? You can even step back a little bit. Like, you don't gotta put yourself in a line of fire the whole way, but you have to do something, and you got to make sure that that person isn't standing over your player that's on the ground either. That's a thing too.
I personally think it's kind of interesting that, since there's been more attention on the WNBA this season, a lot of the headlines have been particularly about rough fouls.
Because of who they're happening to. And I said this off air. This happened in the NBA before. It happened to Jordan. It happens to when them new stars coming into these leagues that's physical, they get treated, yo. It's a real thing, especially with basketball. That's a thing. The league might make rules or might do enforcements that'll change certain behaviors, but this is part of what goes on. This is not special to those girls, but this is a special situation where the world is watching these girls.
Well, my bad. I was gonna say I think it's actually good for the sport because
now it looks like they really playing ball and they really give a damn and they really being competitive and they warriors. That's what it looked like.
Exactly, and that was the big concern was, women can't dunk, women can't, women don't play like men. All of this stuff that it's going to be a watered down version of the NBA, and that's not at all what we're seeing.
No,
we're seeing the same types of physicality, the same type of work ethic and playmanship and talent that we see in other leagues.
But they weren't watching before.
Right.
And that's another part of it too, right? You got to think about the percentage of people that's paying attention to women's basketball that don't even watch basketball.
Right.
Like, as far as the female population or people that's bandwagoning. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that have not watched a WNBA game ever that are watching them now. And they're watching specifically 2 teams play. 3, maybe 3, because everybody's talking about the Aces because they are the Aces. But that's as far as it's really going for a majority of the people that's watching. And they're like, oh my God, why they just do that to her? And yeah. And if I'm a media company just like ours, I'm talking about it too. Yeah, crazy. I ain't gonna miss out on the conversation. Plus it offers a couple of different important conversations or interesting conversations like we just had.
I agree.
There's levels to what's going on, and there's different ways that it's being talked about and taken. And I haven't really seen Caitlyn bitching yet.
No, I haven't.
I think she got some goon in it. Y'all forget she came up playing with the boys when she was 8.
Right.
So it is what it is. Like, I grew up with a couple girls. I'm from Findlay. We got Sasha and Nikki and them. They grew up playing with us. They used to house girls. It was too easy. Because we don't take it easy on nobody. We going to treat you just like the young boy we try and build up. Take this elbow and get back up and run down the court.
All right. So moving on to our next topic.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. It's so phenomenal.
Get down on the ground. 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 Get down on the ground.
Cam versus everybody.
All right. So, if you missed it, Adidas released a new commercial for the AE1.
Ant-Man.
Which is Anthony Edwards' shoe. And in the commercial, it features one of those old, takeout style receipt machines. And it's spewing out receipts, but on the receipts says different quotes from various media personalities in their response to Ant-Man in general. So one of the receipts directly speaks to a quote from Cam.
A supposed quote, because Cam said he's not even sure if he said it or not.
Right, a supposed quote from Cam.
It's possibly an old quote, though.
That he said on It Is What It Is. And the quote says, I forget what it exactly says. Do you remember?
Ant-Man is an all-star, but I'm not sure if he's a superstar yet.
That.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Which isn't really a diss, especially if it was over a year ago.
Right. So then, in the commercial, Ant responds back, "Fuck buddy." It is what
hilarious.
It ain't.
Yeah, the guy reading the receipt says, "You're right. It is what it ain't."
So funny commercial, very well done in my opinion. But then
I think they're taking full advantage of social media and all of that. Yeah.
Cam had a response.
You thought he wasn't?
Yeah, and this was this morning on It Is What It Is?
The initial response was yesterday when everybody saw the commercial.
Okay.
Cam went on his page and said, oh, this is what y'all want to do? All good. I'll respond tomorrow or something to that effect. Response coming tomorrow. So he's a genius in marketing. He was going to draw the attention from that straight to the show, right?
Right.
So then this morning, if y'all know East Coast time, It Is What It Is drops at 8. Between 8 and 8:01. It's more like 8:01 is weird. Every morning, once again, Cameron started the show in the studio by himself, brushing his hair and rapping. And at first, he's spitting his Black Rod Woe beat, and he running his little patterns on it, classic Cam shit. He talking slick, the stuff that we used to.
Right.
And then he says, CNN. I ducked the FBI. Fuck, I care about CNN or something to that effect. I'm like, oh, spicy. Nice callback. I see what you did there. Right? I liked it. Then he said, Melissa Ford called Kevin Lyles and Steve Stout.
Ooh.
Fuck they gonna do to me? I'm Cameron Job. Like, he talking. Then he says, I don't have no problem with you, but don't ever mention my name next to what rhymes with Cameron Giles.
Yep.
Then he raps a little more.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, he's still spitting. I dig it. And then he says, fuck is wrong with Ant-Man? And it's like, oh, you did say you was going to address it today. I like that. You put it in a rap. That's fire. Like, you excited already, right?
Right.
So he go off on Ant-Man, and he basically telling Ant-Man, like, bro, I showed you love. You ain't showed me no love back. That's wild. But, you know, whatever. National campaign, I'll take it. But Adidas, what's up with y'all? And then he starts naming all the athletes that had Adidas deals that got hurt with lower extremity injuries that a lot of the times you could fault the shoe for. So he runs a few names down, laughs about it, talks some shit, says, rest in peace, Black Rob, and then the show starts. So him and Mace joke a little bit like they usually do. Cool.
Right.
And then somebody says it is what it ain't. Mace, I think. And then Stat Baby says, well, since you said that, and she describes what you just described about the commercial. And Mace diverts it to Killer. He said, I'm going to let Killer go first. So Cameron goes first. And Cameron proceeds to tell us that he has a young lady that he works with that is going to be a part of football season and talking about sports and football with him that he's excited about. And they did a little research on all the athletes that got hurt in Adidas. And we're talking about soccer, tennis, baseball, football, basketball. Like, every sport. I don't know if it was a boxer on there or not. I'm not sure. But she runs down. They play the clip. She runs down a list. Then after the list is over, which is like, oh, man, he's going crazy right now. Right?
Right.
He decides to say, oh, yeah. And I'm talking to, Kevin Ware? The one that his whole knee snapped in half, his whole leg snapped in half.
Yeah.
He said, I'm talking to him, and we doing a documentary soon. And we going to talk to him about the Adidas thing. It's not finalized, but I'm reaching out to him this week. That's my mission for this week. That's my goal. Then he says, and after that, I'm going to call Kevin Garnett and everybody else on the list, basically, and they going to make, like, what seems to be a surviving Adidas documentary.
Oh, boy.
But before that, which was interesting to me, he said, when he started talking about the situation, when he said Ant-Man is cool, you young, you supposed to feel like how you feel, whatever, it's cool, no grudges, I'm still a fan. He said, but your talent, I want to deal with your bosses. He said, y'all called me when Sebastian Telfair was on my platform and was dissing y'all and asked me if y'all could work something out so we would stop talking about y'all. He said, I told y'all that wasn't my problem with y'all. That was Sebastian's problem, and I could give y'all his number. Now, the thing about that, if people haven't been paying attention, Sebastian said that they owe him money. Millions of dollars.
Oh.
And it's documented, and he's not getting it, and they're making excuses not to pay him. So when I tell you, yo, I don't got a problem with you, call my man. I bet you don't call him. Right? Because you don't want to pay him. Because what was you about to work out with me? We was going to figure out a deal? Pay him. If you don't want to pay him, then stop calling me. Because that's my man. Right?
Right.
That's how that works. So I thought it was really interesting that he started by saying, like, y'all already reached out to me and I kept it cool with y'all. Now y'all playing with me and I'm going to do what I do. But he's on a 50 mission. And if y'all know anything about Cam, it ain't really a 50 mission. He doing Cam. This is how he always was. He don't play. He go full tilt. That's why we used to hear so much from Jim Jones and them. Because Cam used to be on tilt. And they was backing his play. Star player got an issue. Same thing we just said about Angel and Caitlyn. Right? But that's why it says Cam versus everybody, because Melissa Ford caught a stray or two. CNN was referenced.
Yeah.
Ant-Man caught some work. Then Adidas looks like they about to get drowned. And it's crazy because within the sports circles lately, there's been a lot of conversation about if Adidas, Pumas, and other sneakers, Under Armour, are as efficient as Nikes. It's been conversation. LeVar Ball just came out and said both his sons is hurt because they don't have Nikes on.
Interesting.
And we know LaMelo got all the kids wearing Pumas.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a thing. It's a real thing, and it might be a real thing.
Did you wear Nikes for when you played?
I wore both. I wore I didn't really wear Reeboks because they was usually too wide. Outside of like one pair of Iversons, most of them was too wide for my feet.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of Nikes. A lot. I really didn't hoop in Jordans, but I played in damn near every other Nike. Oh, I had the Reebok DMXs. I played a lot in DMXs because they were narrower and they had the new sole technology. They were super comfortable. And the one pair I had, the black and silver pair, they just look crazy. Like, what the fuck are those? But I played mostly in like flight posits that I was comfortable, super comfortable in. They had remade some Dr. J's, like these new Converse Dr. J Jones. They was comfortable as shit at one point for me. And a lot of Kobe's. A lot of Kobe's, Antoine Walker's, which was Adidas. Because this was before Kobe went to Nike. I never had a pair of Kobe Nikes.
Okay.
But also, his Adidas was high tops or 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his Nikes was lows. He had one pair that was super high, and I thought about getting those just to rock them.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to play in no low top sneaks. I was scared of that, and he tore his Achilles.
My indoor soccer shoes were Adidas, obviously.
But Adidas mastered soccer.
Exactly.
They run soccer.
My softball cleats were always Nike, and then my volleyball shoes were always Asics.
See, I was the type that if we had a 12-game season, I was trying to wear a different pair of sneaks every game. And in the playoffs and the championship, I would just wear my favorites.
No.
My most elaborate.
I had lucky shoes that I only wore to games because I didn't want to screw them up at practice.
And I'm wild, like, because I could get a pair of flight posits. They was like 160 at the time. I was probably getting them around 120 or something like that. Sometimes for 80, depending, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would also go to Marshall's or somewhere like that and find some Kobe's for $15. So when I say I played in a different pair of sneaks it was like different. Like, you know what I mean? None of them was any weaker than the other. They were both was something, but I used to scavenger hunt for sneakers.
Well, you ready to move into hip hop?
Yeah, we could slide.
All right.
Hacker Clark.
All right. Let's give a Diddy update.
What you got for me?
Oh, I was letting you lead it.
As usual, we're hearing more stories.
Mm-hmm.
More people are coming forward. The FBI supposedly said that they obtained footage of a male sex worker being abused in some kind of way, which was, Am I allowed to say that was kind of like comical to me?
Why was that comical to you?
Because what do y'all consider abused? And what was he hired to do? You see what I'm saying? Like, you might watch a tape and see somebody get smacked around. They might be there to get smacked around. He went fetish people.
This is
Dominatrix
true.
and all of that.
This is true.
And a lot of people consider themselves doms. A lot of them ain't, but they it's an excuse to do the thing. To wear leather and rubber and stuff like that. But yeah, like, I just thought that was interesting. Like, who classified that? Did he tell y'all? Which he probably did.
Right.
But they're saying it's going in front of a grand. They got witnesses talking to grand juries and stuff like that right now. Complainants, civil suit people, all of them are getting called in. They're saying that it's a lot on these tapes. That a lot of people are being notified that they will be pulled into this case because they're on that tape. It's a lot going on right now. And meanwhile, he didn't go to his daughter's high school graduation, but his sons were there, smiling and basically said he was chilling. Which, I don't know, but somehow Christian just always gives the wrong perception in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's too, and we know that he's his dad's, like, mini-me, like, but, bro, are you being real right now? Because if everything is as lax as you say it is, you're not really helping your father's case. Because perception is a motherfucker. And if y'all chilling and everybody else is up in arms, they going to try to reverse that tide. That's what I'm saying. And that's all I really want to say about it, because it's like, it's a lot and it's messy and it's weird. And we are at the very beginning of it, but we at least got to say something about the last we heard about it. You heard anything else?
No, that's the latest that I've heard too.
Prayers to everybody that was victimized, true victims. I don't like to compare struggles, but if anything happened, and shout out to Biggie Mom, who said she wants to slap his face. And people are speculating as to what that meant, and like, oh, she just saw the Cassie tape or whatever. Now, I'm pretty sure over these years, Biggie's mom has heard quite a bit of things, and she's given Puff the benefit of the doubt on a lot of it, including how they handle her son's legacy. Right?
Right.
And if he's the monster that they're saying he is, and if that Rolling Stone article about Biggie not being happy there and wanting to be out is true, which is probably something she wasn't privy to, then she wants to slap his face for a lot of reasons. And she's a Caribbean mother, so you know how they get down.
Right.
It's all church till somebody gotta get slapped over my family. That's how I go. So shout out to her. Hopefully this isn't disturbing her peace too much, because talking about her son been going for a long time, and now this is rehashing a lot of stuff for that mother that is an elderly woman and a grandmother, and it's not fair to her. It's not fair to her at all. And now we got people hitting her up for quotes. You see what I'm saying? It's just very strange. And she's a strong woman. Shout out to her. But I don't want her to go through this, and I don't want her to have to go through a trial where she may be brought in or may not. But a lot of stuff might come up about what went on when her son was around.
That's fair.
I think that's a little scary. Any comments in the chat? We good?
Let me double check. Yeah, we good.
Alright, cool. Where we at now?
You wanna go here?
That's cool.
I'm gonna let you introduce this one.
Alright, so Bia versus Cardi B.
Yep.
And mind you, this female beef, so if I'm not if I'm missing steps, that's because I really don't pay attention but so much to Bia and Cardi B, especially Cardi's not even dropping music right now. Right? But what's said by Cardi is that Bia was saying that Cardi was creeping with somebody that she knows. As in, like, inside information. I know for a fact that you be cheating on Offset type shit. And Cardi gets on a record and she says, "Don't nobody want to be ya." And it was like a little dark, right? A little dark. And then Bia would like shrugged it off and played something in the background that sounded like a diss record. Like, I'm gonna just let y'all, you know what I mean? We gonna know. Then Cardi went live and she was Big Barty. I don't know, is this gangster? She started saying like, you can say that I'm whack, you can say that I'm this, you can say that, but you can't lie on my pussy, I'll sue you. And we know she sues people for talking about her vagina.
True.
But like, I'm confused at this point. Like, don't throw the first punch and then go get your big brother. Like, you was participating. You threw a bar out there. Like, was that like a warning? Like, I'll sue you? I don't get how that works. Like, how do you do both?
I don't know. I don't
understand it, but obviously they got their little thing going on. And shout out to both ladies because they're both awesome and they got great audiences. But right now it's a Bia versus Cardi B thing brewing, and I think it's interesting that we're in a climate of the females being so powerful and having such big followings that they're piggybacking off of the male energy and just battling each other all of a sudden. Like, on record, instead of like how they was carrying it a couple years ago, maybe even 6 months ago. I think it's very interesting because it speaks to their audience and their power and their confidence. Because at some point it got out of, I'm gonna just stop talking bad to you and getting offended. Let's go joust. That's dope. I think it's dope. I think they'll fight though. I think all the ladies that's talking about each other will fight each other. We seen shoes get thrown before at award and at fashion shows. So hopefully not, but that's one thing about these girls. It's just like battle rap. I want you to introduce this next one though.
Okay. I might not introduce it the way you like.
You the expert.
Where did this who was talking about this? Where did this come from? I forget now.
The white guy.
Gary. No.
I forget his name.
Okay.
He was talking about when he realized what he would have to do to get out of his contract. And recently, Fat Joe said that the labels is a Ponzi scheme because he's been double platinum 20 years ago and still owes the label money. So it comes from a few places, but with the Live Nation thing, it's tied up in the whole contract because the only way to pay back the label is by doing shows. In order to pay them back, according to this guy, you had to be able to sell out most of the shows. With Live Nation, they own the parking lot, the vendors, the venue, the water, and all of that stuff. So his example was when that person pays $40 for parking, I don't get a coin off of that. When that person buys a $20 hot dog, I don't get a coin off of that. When that person buys a vodka and Red Bull, I don't get a coin off of that. And if this venue isn't full, I'm not fulfilling my obligation. And if y'all decide to have a super summer sale blast like they always do, what they just did with Meg recently, when my tickets dropped to $20 and $10, it doesn't change what I owe. It shortens what I'm adding to the pot.
Right.
A while ago, Taylor Swift had a problem with Live Nation.
With Ticketmaster.
With Ticketmaster and Live Nation, which are the same at this point.
Yeah.
And how they was pricing and overpricing her fans, and she wasn't getting a percentage of the overprice or agreeing to it. Right? Because they were doing third party and little antics and sneak stuff that people do. It's like they doing funny accounting over there, like with other people's careers. And they broke it down to the point where it's like, ultimately, you just want me to be in the venue so I can fill it up with people so you can sell hot dogs, parking, vodka, and beer.
Yes.
But I don't get a percentage of any of that because if I'm not here, this venue is empty. So it doesn't make sense. Live Nation has literally built a monopoly and the labels are playing into it. They're partners in it, basically. Now, you know other details that I don't know, right? As far as how Live Nation, Ticketmaster, and them operate in the first place.
Sure, yeah. I'm not arguing that they're not a monopoly. They absolutely have a monopoly over the production, the live show industry.
Of
100%.
Any venue worth having over 500 capacity.
Yes. And I think that COVID made that an even starker difference. Like, they have so much more percentage of the market now post-COVID than what they did even before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But with all that, I think that in the digital age that we're living in, monopolies have become a part of our new capitalism. If you think about all of the tech giants, the social media giants, the companies like Tesla and, you know, those types of things, like, all of these are examples of what back in the 60s or 40s even would have been called a monopoly. Mm-hmm. But today we allow these businesses to monopolize their respective industries
and not
or
pay taxes.
oligopolize their respective industries
and not pay taxes
and not pay their fair share of taxes because of the global economy and their benefit towards our global GDP, not global, but our national GDP, and just, you know, our positioning in global politics. So I think that in Live Nation's case specifically, do they do things that hurt artists? Yes. Do they have a monopoly? Yes. But knowing some of the folks who are fairly high up in Live Nation, it's the structure of the business, 100%. And until that structure is challenged in a meaningful way through legislation, this is how this is going to operate. So I don't necessarily see it as nefarious or like a scam or anything like that. Like, this is what the laws allow for. This is what contracts dictate. So, you know, I think that unions exist for a reason. I think that there are musicians unions and representative organizations that are supposed to represent independent and, you know, even label artists.
I'm sure they're getting paid not to.
Well, I think that there's some deeper investigation that needs to go on here because there's definitely some, you know, labor negotiations that probably need to be had that are, you know, conversations that might be being had behind closed doors that we don't know about.
But there's some real manipulation being done, and I don't think it stops at the artist level.
What do you mean?
I mean that if they monopolize that form of work in general, then these people probably not getting paid what they supposed to be getting paid in the popcorn stand and in the, you know what I mean, in ticket booth and none of that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably an overall thing to the point where it's like if you're not specially contracted by like an Aramark, right?
Mhm.
Then you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. All right, well, we'll keep our eye on it. I thought it was interesting because it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up, and it's a real thing, and it really makes you think about the other thing about, like, everybody wants to be a star and wants to be signed and wants to do these big shows, but one of the questions was raised, like, is this part of the reason that Drake is always on tour? He just got that big deal and ain't sat down since.
True.
He might be trying to catch up. Who knows? Whatever. But where we at next with it?
Let's talk about
As I pour a second hour drink.
the Roots picnic.
Mm-hmm.
So, this past weekend on Saturday in Philly
And Sunday.
and Sunday
Mm-hmm.
was the 2024 Roots Picnic. This is an annual event that happens here in Philadelphia, hosted by the Roots. But unfortunately, due to COVID and other things, we haven't had a Roots Picnic since the virtual one.
There was one last year.
Was there?
Yeah, when everybody was running. It was last year.
Oh, okay. So this is the second one that we've had since the virtual one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And the lineup for this Roots Picnic was great. They had Lil Wayne and Nas and who am I forgetting? The
Lil
headlines.
Wayne, Nas, Redman, Method Man, Ines was up there.
Jill Scott.
Jill Scott killed her set, smoked on stage and the whole nine. Tierra Whack was out there on the Jill Scott set. It was a loaded weekend. They had some goodies. Who else was
Freeway
out there?
Beanie.
Freeway Beans. Yup. Ghostface. It was a lot. Shout out to Jill Scott. Love her. But one thing I thought was interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since you was doing the history, Questlove put up something on the gram today. Did you see it?
No.
Alright, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It shouldn't take long. He is the best drummer in the world. Alright, cool. It says dreams come true. That's not the one. Oh, alright, I can't find. Hold up. Alright, here we go. 30 years ago today, with 6 one-way tickets in hand, we took a risk and left our beloved city of Philadelphia for the shaky shores of London town, specifically Camden. The East Village of London. Actually, the timing is perfect. Camden doc exec produced. Oh, this is a sidebar. They got the doc coming about it soon. But he says, but yeah, 2 weeks into our stay, we did our first festival. A last minute side stage add-on to Glasgow Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And we promised, hook or crook, we will bring a festival to our city. In 2008, that dream came true when the first Roots Picnic came to fruition. I think that's so ill that, like, and it's a longer post, but it starts with 30 years ago today, and this was 2 days ago, right? And it ends with, and where I ended at was, in 2008, the dream came true. Talk about perseverance. Talk about the biggest band in the world. They had to work to still get it done. And it's successful and it's dope. And congratulations to every Av, man. Av just posted a plaque today with Core, man. It's big things them going on with them Uptown youngins, man. Heavy, man. He just responded when I said congratulations, so it just reminded me. But no, I just want to salute the Roots and everybody that's in cohesion with their movement. For entertaining me my whole teenage to adult life in a real way, and doing something dope for the city that really winds up being overly positive every year. So. Now, one thing about the Roots Picnic, I usually don't go. I've had tickets and all of that, and I usually don't go. And lately, my reason has been, I need more access than a ticket, so to speak. And I know that if I shake some trees, I could probably make that happen. But it usually sneaks up on me, and I'm not really into that. Honestly.
Oh, we forgot somebody. Shout out to Stormy Pete.
Oh, yeah, Stormy P was on the podcast stage.
Yep.
This is part of what I'm talking about.
2nd year in a row.
Yeah, and I ain't talking about Stormy, but I'm just saying, like, we need to be represented in a different way up there. So, but shout out to Stormy because she's killing it always.
Absolutely.
She had that hot pink out there, man, doing what it do in the sun. I seen it.
With the fro going.
I seen it, man. Only Stormy, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I know she had y'all cracking up out there. She's a fool with it.
Ali said, "Hi, how are you, bro?"
Yo, Ali, what's up with you?
Yumit Khan Yugin said Abi Adimi Okuramuson. I don't know what that means.
Me neither. I hope you ain't just say no crazy shit to get us flagged, but we good.
Yep.
That was it?
That was it.
No, but salute to the Roots in Philly and the surrounding areas for showing up and having a good time together and fellowship and love of music and art. I think it was awesome. As usual, I literally, and she'll tell you, I will sit in the house and watch every video from the Roots picnic. And I watch multiple of the same performances just to see the different stage angles and all of that. Like, I'm really still into it. It's just like festival life is different, and a festival in Philly is different. So I can't just frontline the whole Philly festival scene. I need somewhere I could duck off to.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I'm something like somebody.
All right, and while we're talking
Maybe next year I'll see what we could do, man.
about Philly,
Mhm.
Meek dropped a new track.
Yeah.
Called 5 a.m. in Philly.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you took a listen to it. What?
I'm sure you heard it.
I did.
Okay.
What did you think about it?
First question. What did you think about the title?
I like the title in general, but I feel like it's something that like without listening to the song, the title definitely caught my interest. But it also feels like I've heard tracks called 4 a.m. in Philly or 3 a.m. in Philly or 5 a.m. in Philly before.
Well, what actually happens is Drake does the timestamps. Drake is infamous for the timestamps. There's a large part of his audience that craves those joints. You know what I mean? I think this was clickbait for Meek. Meek knew if he put 5 a.m. in Philly, then we would assume that it was a diss record. Or there was diss bars in it, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. Some might say brilliant marketing. To that, I say get it how you live, because Meek has been running around screaming he's independent now. Right?
Right.
And we know what third, fourth, fifth party marketing is like for somebody in his position. It's a real thing. It's a house. It's a house for most people to be able to get the kind of traction that he would need to get everybody to cover something like this without giving them a little bit of clickbait, right?
Mm-hmm.
But overall, as a record, is that what you asking me?
Yeah.
I think it was alright. I think there's parts and there's things in there that he's saying it's like, yeah, I'm with you. And I really dig the video. I think the video makes the song a little clearer too. But is this a throwaway or a single? It's like a single because it's on DSPs, right? It went straight to DSPs.
Yep. Has its own artwork.
I don't know if this is the energy we needed from him in this climate right now. If we gonna do single. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I think the record's okay. I don't think it's a bad record. I don't think it's a great record. I'm really waiting to see the reaction to it, because a record like this sneaks up on you when you out at a party and everybody's ad-libbing the quotables on a slow song. It happens.
It does.
And not saying it'll make you like it more, but if the people feel it, then you gotta at least accept it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'll hear it more than you thought you would.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I listened to it like twice. I'm not screaming, "Oh my God, this is the best track ever." I'm also not saying that this is a bad track. I think it's fine.
I would say it's good.
I think maybe it should have been an album cut.
Yeah, it feels like an album cut to me.
Feels like an album cut to me.
Or a mixtape joint like that's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the joint on the mixtape. Besides the singles we know he really give up.
And it feels like something that like you could perform during a set during that like downtime before you build the crowd back up to the finale.
Yeah, before you go, hold on, wait a minute, you do this. But also, and I just thought about this, as much as I've been thinking about the record, I think we gotta account for the fact that maybe me and maybe even you are we're overthinking the record because Meek is actually really good at making singles.
Yeah.
Like, he makes great singles. They ran with a mixtape intro for 5 years, but he makes great singles. And he's been doing that since Flamers. You know what I mean? Like, House Party was a mixtape cut.
This is true.
So, I think that's part of it, too. I think it's like, Meek, it's about to be the summer, bro. Like, let's have it. And maybe he dropping something behind it. Maybe this is something, a lead in.
Yeah. We'll see.
But it didn't have me like, and I probably listened to it about 5 times, if not more, but literally just to make sure that I felt the way I felt about it. Not so much because it was like I needed that.
Right.
So that's my take on it. 5 a.m. in Philly, man. Go support Meek Mill either way.
Either way.
Because he did say on there that he cried when he passed that law, and that's a big fucking deal.
Yep.
Y'all can't take nothing from that man after that unless he do some complete crumb Diddy shit. For real, a young man has done a lot for a lot of people, and he's never going to get the full credit for it in real time because he's still a shit talker.
All right, moving into some more entertainment news. Kai took a trip out to visit his friend Ray, who's in Taiwan, going to school there. He lives in, I want to say, Korea. Am I correct with that?
Thought it was Taiwan. Oh,
I thought he goes to school in Taiwan, but he lives in Korea or something.
I think they met in Korea and he lives in Taiwan.
That's what it is. Met in Korea. Okay.
Yeah, they met in Korea. He was on a school. He was on a class trip.
Okay. That's what it was.
He was on a school trip.
I knew there was something with Korea. I got confused. All right, so Kai went out there to visit him for his graduation. As you can see in the picture, they look super happy, and I just think that this is just dope for him to do that, for him to like really take such an interest and befriend someone in such a quick way, and like bring him into the streaming world like that and make him a recurring character on the stream is awesome. But what did you think about it?
I watched the whole 35-minute video.
35 minutes.
Yeah, it's him going to the joint.
Okay.
So it starts with him leaving Atlanta. His flight gets delayed. He winds up in San Diego or some shit. Then he winds up in Canada. They lost his luggage by the time he got to Canada. They found his luggage. He flies to Taiwan. He lost his luggage again. They told him it's going to be a couple days, right? So he goes, he gets situated where he's staying at and all that. He was saying he still needed to get a hotel. So he got situated. And then in the middle of the night, he ran to a store to buy a suit. Bought the suit and the fedora and all of that, right? And his thing was, Ray was telling him, like, the pageantry of graduation isn't the same over there as it is here. It's like you're supposed to graduate. You know what I mean? So they don't wear caps and gowns. So Kai bought him a cap and gown and made him put it on, but he didn't wear it in the graduation. They took this picture before they went in there, and he didn't want to put it on. He was like, it looked crazy, and he told Kai that he looks like a cowboy. That's their perception of Americans that wear suits like that they're cowboys.
Oh my god.
That was funny. But I think it was ill because part of it, like, they being attacked right now. Like, they about to go to war. So being as though they're about to go to war, now that he's graduated, he's going to have to go to war. He's going to have to at least enlist in the military. By, like, he ain't got no choice. But Kai kept asking him, Kai kept saying to him, well, you do like a year and then you good. He kept telling him he's good after that. Ray is going to be fine after he gets out the military. God blessings be with him. Hopefully, he makes it out healthy. But, like, Kai has big plans for Ray.
Yeah.
And he's not saying them, but he's insinuating, like, bro, just do your thing and we good. And I think that's awesome. I also thought what was interesting was Ray went to that school since, like, kindergarten. He been in on that same campus, so to speak, his whole life.
Wow.
But he's the man there. Like, they let him do what he want. He was walking on stage to accept other people's awards. Kai thought he was winning awards because there's a language barrier. He's up there 3 times in a row. Ray was like, yeah, one of those was mine. But I just think that it's awesome. Like you said, just the relationship, it built organically. He went over there, met him, brought him over here, went over there, went to his house, met his family, and then, like, you know, he got to reunite with the family and all of that, and sat with mom at graduation. And it was a 4-hour graduation.
Wow.
But they don't call everybody names. They only call out awards.
Oh.
And it was 4 hours.
That's crazy. Good thing they don't call names.
Imagine a 4-hour award ceremony when you don't speak the language. Kai is a beast, yo. Shout out to Kai, yo. He go hard for his boy. And I think that that's a real thing. I think that they showing people something that's been going on since the internet and chat rooms, but in a real way. Like, no, you could really meet somebody from the other side of the world and not have everything in common, but appreciate each other and build each other up and do dope shit together. I think that that's fly. I think it's fly. I don't see no other way to categorize it.
Philly Talk TV said, my guy Sam, salute.
Yo.
I watched those earlier today. It was dope and liked it.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate that. That's love. But no, salute to Kai, man. And like Charlamagne said, the sky is the view for Kai. You can do whatever you want out here. And after what he just did with Kev, I'm pretty sure. Don't be surprised if he make Ray a superstar, like a movie star. Ray has the personality for it.
Yeah.
He actually does, and he's disciplined. Like, he knows how to that hurry up and wait and all of that shit. He'd be alright. He'll be alright. I'm excited for them.
All right. Moving on to Deandra Sanders.
Yeah, man. I really wanted to get your take on this one.
All right, fill me in.
So Deandra Sanders is about to burst with Jacquees's baby. Blessings to them. Hopefully everything goes very smooth for y'all, and y'all can welcome this baby with this blessing with as little anxiety as possible. I definitely don't want to overshoot that. That's very important. But the people found out, because there's footage of her saying that the baby will have her last name. Deandra is Deion Sanders' daughter, by the way.
Yes.
The baby will have her last name because she is not married to Jacquees.
Okay.
Which, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I thought I signed the birth certificate, last name come with me. But I also wonder if this is like part of an ultimatum. Like, angle whereas it's like, well, we ain't married, so what you know what I mean?
I see what you're getting at.
I wonder if it's an ultimatum. I wonder if it's just a way to pressure him into making her an honest woman because she is having her child, and they may or may not have planned it that way. It might just be the blessing that they rolling with, right?
Right.
So, but the baby's last name thing, what do you think about that? What's your expertise, or what usually like, because it's a whole thing with faith for the baby too, if we two different religions, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but nobody's discussing any of this before they having babies anyway, right? I guess, like,
I guess not.
But what do you think about it? Because I thought it was interesting, and I thought, like,
so
I feel like if your dad wasn't Deion, would you say that?
I don't know if she would, but I know a woman who would. I think that you're right in the sense that it's very possible that this is part of an ultimatum, and I've heard this type of behavior from women in an ultimatum sort of setting. However, I do think that there is some truth to the fact that if you don't share a last name with your child, it's difficult. Like, there's difficulties that come from that. Whether it's just, like, always having to explain it or, you know, answering to different relatives, you know, things like that. So I understand as somebody who's not married, you know, and doesn't have another last name, like, I wouldn't necessarily want my child to not have the same last name that I do.
Would you think that your spouse would? Like,
well,
the
and
same
that's-
difficulties
that's
apply
the
on
thing,
the other
it
side.
does.
So now we talking about your convenience when we talk about that.
Well, so my understanding, and I think that she, like, clarified this after the fact, but the child's name is going to be something Sanders and then whatever Jacquees' last name is.
Yeah, it's not a cute one either.
Yeah.
And I think that might have something to do with it too.
And
What if you love somebody with an ugly last name? Oh.
that makes a little bit more sense to me because, you know, what if you give your child your last name and then you guys do end up getting married? Then, like, you got to go through the whole process of changing your daughter's name too.
And is she gonna be hyphenated? Like, now we make a decision,
Right.
we just making with you.
Right. Whereas it's pretty normal for a child to have mother's maiden name as a middle name. Like, that's a normal thing that happens. So I think that the way that she cleaned it up, whether that was actually her intention or not, makes a lot of sense to me. But I did want to at least give credit that there are difficulties that come from your child not having your last name. And you're right, it for both women and men. So it's definitely a conversation that should have been had well before the fact.
Anything that come out of rice nuts is a rice, for the record. Just is what it is. You can't even fight it. The universe is not going to let you have it. Don't work that way. But, you know, I wish them the best of luck, man. They seem very happy. I don't want it to seem like this is something they on the outs about. This is something the world talking about. You know what I mean? They might be settled in it at this point. Real rap. Because, you know, I don't want no bad energy to nobody that's coming bringing a baby in the world. We just talking about the last name thing because I thought that was interesting.
I agree.
Thought that was interesting. Shout out Jacquees. Very talented.
We got some comments. Gel VIP said, "You look like Lil Baby's brother that got herpes."
Damn.
And then he said, "She looks like Megan Fox's sister with herpes."
Oh, so everybody has herpes in your world.
I guess so.
I wonder where you live. Anyway. No, that was crazy. Like, all right. And I look like Lil Baby? But I, to be honest with you, I've looked like everybody with locks. Niggas done called me Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And Wayne Ware.
I don't see it.
Like, I don't take offense to that. Like, dudes without hair always just bulk us all together. Probably, it should probably recede. Look, I got all mine. We good. We super good. 42, by the way.
All right, let's talk about Sean Kingston. So, he was arrested in Florida on fraud charges.
Him and his mama.
Him and his mom. So, first off, Sam, are you surprised?
This is the one thing I agree with Poetic Flacco on. He's the industry's biggest scammer. Like, this boy been doing this for so long, yo. And it's crazy because, like, scamming is one thing. Now I want to know what that girl got that got hurt on the jet ski with this motherfucker. Like, you vicious, boy. Like, you just ain't paying nobody. Like, when you really think about it, it's like, you got a long line of just acting like you home. Like, you ain't... nigga, he running around telling people, yo, give me this jewelry and I'm going to get Justin Bieber to do a drop for you while we on tour. While he not on tour with Justin Bieber. He been on for jewelry for over 10 years now. He's getting arrested for over $1 million in fraud. He just got extradited to Florida and booked into Broward County today on $1 million fraud charges.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, that's only one of the cases. And when I say only one, I believe I've heard of 4 to 5 other cases.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because, you know, once one come up, everybody else's shit go viral. They said it. They search his name and find everybody. You going to jail, bro.
Hey.
They gonna freeze shit. They gonna do what they do, and you gonna be left in a position to hope to get your mom out. Cause she running her own plays, or she's signing on shit too. She might be in it for co-signing, but they said initially when they took her, it was for her own thing. But that doesn't mean that it's not connected to his thing. We don't have details on her thing. Right?
Right.
So it's kind of wild, but like, you a scammer, bro. You running around still, and I still blame cancel culture for Sean Kingston's problems. Because even though he was doing this type of stuff when he was on top, he was in a position to pay that shit back when they come. Now y'all say he can't say the S word no more. He can't perform his top record no more. And he winds up owing for jewelry and stereo systems and theaters, in-home theaters. These ain't things you supposed to be in the red for. Because they're luxuries.
Right.
They're not even bills. They're added expenses. And I mean above and beyond. Right?
Yeah.
Can't even drive this shit. $200,000 around you. You can't drive it. And that would depreciate if you could. So, one thing about it though, watches and the right kind of jewelry do appreciate, but you gotta pay for them first. They gonna appreciate at your expense. It's gonna get added to your interest. That's what I got to say about that.
All right.
You're just too beautiful, girl. That's why it'll never work. It's a great song. Great song. And he was young. He was like a prodigy. That's what makes it so sad. But you know, it's hard to maintain.
Yep. All right. So something that went viral recently was this Zoom court situation where the judge said that this person has a suspended license, but he comes into the courtroom clearly in a car driving. So this definitely blew the internet up. It made the Shade Room. It made Breakfast Club. It was all over the place. But it recently came out that he actually did not have a suspended license. So back in 2022, there was a motion filed to reverse the suspended license. However, that motion was never received by the secondary party. So the order
They never put his shit in the system.
Yeah. So the order never actually showed up in the system. And therefore, when the judge was in the courtroom, it appeared as though he had a suspended license. However, to his knowledge, that had already been cleared 2 years prior.
He probably was in there arguing that he got a ticket for a suspended license.
Right.
That probably was his argument. And what was so interesting about the video and why it went viral and got so much attention was because he was so confident and nonchalant in the video.
Mm-hmm.
They asked him, "Oh, are you driving?" And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, no, I'm parking at my doctor's office." Like, he was up front. We was all like, "Why you ain't just get out the car, bro? You could have pulled over the side of the road and jumped out the car real quick. What's wrong with you?" But in his head, he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Right.
So when it comes out recently that his license was reinstated was supposed to be reinstated 2 years ago, and it had initially been suspended multiple times over child support, actually. But that was in like the 90s. It started in like 98. or some shit. It was like years ago. Like that child is probably grown. And maybe it was the early 2000s, but it was a long time ago. And it was like now he's probably trying to clarify that situation, and he just went viral and made memes out of
Right.
Breakfast Club is in hundreds of markets, and now he donkey it today. Charlamagne had to undonkey him. Mind you, and Charlamagne was cracking jokes. You know, he had to go to the doctors. He looked like Beetlejuice, brother. You know, he got high diabetes and cholesterol. Like, it was jokes being had at his expense, and he wasn't wrong. And the internet going internet, but this was wild, yo. And it turned around so fast.
And you got to remember, like, he still has places to go and things to do, so he has to explain that to people in real life that are bringing it up to him constantly. Like, that must be so exhausting and humiliating.
And he not making a coin off it, and y'all done made t-shirts off of this man probably.
Right. And now he's famous overnight for something that he probably thought was private. Like, it's a court case.
Why is my court video going viral?
Right. So I do feel bad for him.
Not
overall.
to mention, like, I believe the story was that his wife had a situation and he just wasn't, he ain't even think, he just jumped up and took her to the doctors knowing that he had to hop on the Zoom.
Right.
The man was doing everything right.
Oh, poor guy.
He did everything right, Kay, and we grinded him up. Not so much us, but the world. The world, man, and we part of the world. Shit.
All right. Getting to probably one of my favorite topics for tonight.
Oh, what's that? I'm intrigued. Oh.
Get down on the ground. Get down on the ground. Get down on the ground. Get.
We're gonna have a funky good time.
Oh, my bad. I was on party.
Oh, so it came out last week after just a day and a half of deliberation
Yeah.
that Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts.
45. You see what I did there?
Yes. You screwed me up. I was like, wait, no, it was 34.
So many numbers, so little time.
Exactly. Of course, he reacted by trying to turn this to garner more support and use it as a fundraising cause, and to also, kind of further the narrative of look at what these Democrats are doing to me and
He called
your
himself a
democracy.
political prisoner.
Yes.
He compared himself to Mandela,
Yes.
so to speak.
So the
Che Guevara.
sentencing is set to begin sometime in July. But in the meantime, obviously, media was going nuts. Everybody interviewing all of the different congressmen and representatives and getting their take on the situation. But Sammy, what is your take?
I never thought I'd see the day he would be found guilty on all counts of anything. I don't care if it was 3 counts of jaywalking. I never thought I'd see this shit. So first, immediate response was shock. We was actually on our way to happy hour. Well, we found out, and I'm pretty sure a couple people that was in the bar found out a little bit after we got there, and they started celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
I went to work on the next work day was. And the first lady that I see in the morning, I asked her how she was doing, and she was like, I'm great. 34 counts. Like, she was all in her bag, like, and she's always pleasant, but this was different energy. And I'm like, that's dope for you. I like that for you. You know what I mean? I like that. She got a little pep in her step today behind something. Fuck it. But, I think that even though they say every appeal is risky and slight, I think appeal is still on the table, and it's definitely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see how they try to sentence him, and if he is permitted to await appeal to even start his sentencing. Because as much as they try to say that nobody's above the law, he hasn't been treated like anybody else in it.
Well, I think that this is an unprecedented case. I mean,
No,
we've
it is
never...
that. So we have no idea.
And that kind of leads me to my next point. So one of the things that I thought was interesting from the media's perspective is, from Democratic media, it was very clear that everybody was talking about, 34 counts, let's talk sentencing, this is going to mean jail time, how could this not mean jail time, was kind of the overarching narrative. And was like a little bit of a celebratory, like, hey, we did it, like, he's not going to be that threat we thought he was going to be come November. There was also...
Well, this was supposed to be the softball case.
There was also a secondary narrative from what I think are, a more moderate or mostly independent type of folks who were like, okay, what does this mean? What does this really mean? And then the other side of the aisle, despite being outraged and invigorated and kind of, forming these calls to action, they also said it would be ridiculous to get jail time for these types of offenses, unprecedented to get jail time for these types of offenses. This does not change anything come November. We are still 100% behind him as a party.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, they were showing up to court dressed like him.
With all of those competing narratives,
Party members. Right.
Where do you think that sentencing is going to shake out? And what do you think what are your predictions about where we're going to end up come November?
I think that with all the stuff that I've watched, one thing is, if he spends a day in jail, he's supposedly not supposed to be able to run for office. It's part of New York law or something to that effect. But I think like 5 months, 6 months is reasonable. I also think that they'll find every reason in the world, as far as difficulty and the fact that this is unprecedented, as to why to defer that. Which I think will wind up with him basically building his own prison, i.e. house arrest. From which he'll have conference after conference after conference after pep rally after political rally until November. I think that silencing him is the best thing that you can do. And I think that it's been proven so far that that's not really possible while he's in the world. So maybe you need to sit him down for a few plays. But I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, a million reasons why it'll just be such a burden, and it's easier not to. And if you believe T.I.'s sentencing guidelines and what happened with that case, then it definitely applies here. You familiar with what happened with that?
No.
T.I. got caught with a lot of guns. I want to say over 100. And he wound up pleading because his defense lawyers convinced the judge that he would be more productive at his status outside than inside. So he did a year and a day or something like that. And then he came home on a tour bus and they took him right back to jail, and then he came back home.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if any of that is true, as far as the way we know that story, why wouldn't it apply in this situation?
I mean, I think the fact that this is New York is going to play an interesting role in...
the world is watching.
Yeah.
And shout out to all the jurors, y'all.
Yeah, it must have been a very difficult spot to be in, to be a juror on this case.
Imagine trying to sleep for 2 weeks of this shit.
Oh, and that's the thing, and I've heard, like, people are trying to get the jurors' names and trying to, like, find their addresses and all of that.
They gonna find them.
I just think that that's terrible. Like, that's such a terrible thing to do.
Everything is on the internet, and everything has leaks in it. The most secure servers have leaks somehow.
And realistically, like, they're performing the civic duty that they were called upon to do. Nobody volunteered to do this.
And y'all won't even do it for what happened to your neighbor.
Right. So I think that's just cruel. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens next. I
You can say it.
unfortunately don't think that this is necessarily a win for Democrats for come November.
Because narratives run everything, and he gonna spin the fuck out of this. He already is.
Yeah, and I think
I've seen black people empathize with him because they got did wrong in court.
exactly. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about where we're gonna end up in this upcoming election. But one thing for sure, two things for certain, I will definitely be voting.
I also think what's being reported versus what's really happening is two different things. I agree with Charlamagne. I've seen a lot of energy towards the fact that so many black people are crossing over to the side of Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also seen the data that says that a lot of people think that since he's been convicted that he doesn't deserve to run for president. A lot more than before. If I'm saying that right.
I mean, I think plain and simply, like, I wouldn't want somebody who was very recently convicted of felonies, especially related to
Government.
elections,
Right.
to
And
be
mind
representing my country and my democracy.
Mind you, he ran against Hillary off of that.
Right.
That if she was under indictment, she shouldn't be able to run. He
Right.
said that a million times.
Right. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see. I'm very interested to see how the Biden campaign really responds and whether they utilize this as fuel or continue to play kind of a safe, high moral ground campaign strategy. So that still kind of remains to be seen. But
They gotta get the couch people off the couch, man.
well, and there's also debates coming up, so I'm curious to see, what's said in person when it comes to these debates and whether, this new conviction affects the ability to host those debates moving forward.
I think if the additions to the debate stand true as far as having a narrator that's going to make sure that you are not allowed to talk while the other person is talking or will cut you off when you're going off topic, not having the same kind of audience that'll be able to react in a certain kind of way. I think if all of those additions remain true, then Biden is at an advantage and Trump fuck around and pull out. I think it's like big room, small room in battle rap. Like if I sign up for the big room and I think I got an advantage and I write for that, and then you switch it to the small room, I don't want to participate. Especially like, it's one thing if you go in confidently, it's another thing if you go in on defense. And I think that's the difference for now versus what he agreed to. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's enough to be like, oh, the battlefield changed. I'm not participating. What are you going to lose? Are they going to fine him for saying I'm not doing it? Like, what is he going to lose? I think that's the thing.
All right. And
You ain't but deleting nothing, so the list still look crazy.
no, this is our last topic. I'm just trying to find my graphic.
That ain't it. So.
Here we go.
Oh.
All right. So, something that is expected to happen tomorrow is Biden is expected to sign an executive order.
That says border where?
Sign an executive order sealing the border with Mexico and limiting / suspending long-time protections for asylum seekers here in the U.S. Obviously, this comes after a lot of, conversations publicly in the news, as well as behind the scenes with, public officials down in Texas, as well as other border towns. And this is something that's been building for years. But this move would be very similar to what happened under Trump's regime back in 2018, where the border was officially closed. Reports are now saying that on Sunday, there were 350 migrants that were processed through the border that were coming over in non-legal ways. So the problem has definitely gotten to a scale where folks are putting pressure on Biden to take this sort of action. But this is, something that Democrats are not necessarily typically for. They usually look more towards immigration reform, in terms of pathway to citizenship, DREAM Act, things of those natures. When they talk about immigration, they don't necessarily talk about closing down borders. So this is a interesting move to happen now, while we are in an election season for Biden. So what are your thoughts on all of this?
What's crazy about this, right? Mm-hmm. Biden already has a problem with the youth because of who he's supporting and sending supplies to right now, right?
Yep.
This is the other issue for the adults that have been leaning on 45 was right the whole time. That added to the fact that they still say that Obama had higher numbers than 45 did when it came to this issue, right?
Wait, can you explain that a little bit more?
Obama.
No, the part before that.
What? Oh yeah, people are saying that when Trump was saying close the borders, build the wall, build the wall, build the wall, y'all all fought him on build the wall, but he was right on that issue. What you got to realize about Trump supporters is they don't need a lot to stand on. So being in this position now where it's like, all right, I'm about to make the same move that my party is against traditionally, right? Mm-hmm. That was very relative to what we already seen from the other guy. It just gives them more ammo.
Right.
On a topic that they've really been standing on for a while.
Right.
Honestly. That's been he ran a whole campaign off of I'm going to build a wall.
Yeah, I think if his
base gives a fuck.
If he were doing this specifically to gain the votes of Republicans that wanted him to be tougher on immigration, I think that it's absolutely going to backfire.
I feel like he's losing a couple branches of his party by doing certain things right now.
Well, and that was going to be my next point is I don't think that this is a smart move considering that he still needs to garner the left side of the Democratic Party, which, traditionally has not been very pro-Biden.
Man, listen.
So, I do think that overall as a policy, considering the scale of things that are going on down in southern Texas and California and Arizona, New Mexico,
New York,
there's definitely a problem and it needs to be addressed. Do I think that cutting off asylum is the best solution? No, but I think that because of the scale of what's happening, they are taking desperate measures in order to, be able to process the long-standing queue that already exists.
All right, so maybe you can answer this for me, right? Mm-hmm. Is part of the problem that every time power changes hands, we change our perspective on it and we don't have a system yet? Like, maybe if we stick to one thing, we could figure out a way to navigate the rest of it, right?
I mean...
It's like you control what you can and then you figure out what's out of your control. But we don't have a reliable way of doing that because every time something's implemented, somebody else shifts it.
That's the nature of democracy, though, is everybody shifts and everybody contributes just a little bit, hoping that at the end of the day you're going to come up with a more better solution.
If your agenda for this issue is met on your second year in office, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 years later, somebody else comes in office. 2 years after that, it's changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people go to school for how long at a time? 4 years at a time, right? You go to high school for 4 years, middle school for 4, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. If your 4 years falls on a split and they change the entire school system and way of doing things, and you was there in 9th and 10th grade, now 11th and 12th grade, y'all got to wear uniforms and do all of this. It's not going to cause anarchy. Like, there's going to be a problem one way or another, right? Because we already was here. What we doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to cause some chaos. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But within the chaos, the problem never gets solved because it's still 2 years, 4 years later, it gets bounced back in the other direction. So it's part of the problem that the power is switching hands and we have yet to get to something that works for now.
So are you arguing for dictatorship?
I would never argue for dictatorship.
But I mean, what's the alternative if you don't keep rotating power and you don't?
No, but when it comes to the border, like it's like when Obama said, shout out to Dutch. Obama said, and if Obamacare works, they're just going to change the name. They won't call it Obamacare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has created something that somebody else says, you know what, I fuck with that, or that government says, yo, we can't touch that because that's what's working right now. Nobody's done it yet. It's getting manipulated and used as a political pawn.
Well, and I also think it's about who you ask. Like, some people might argue that there have been times where the U.S. immigration system was great, and provided a lot of opportunity and you know, things of that nature. But
that was when the country needed a population and they already slaughtered a lot of the people that was already here.
Times have changed, and times have also changed in our neighboring countries, where they're experiencing a lot of, you know, dangerous situations that they need to escape from. So for us to not have the ability to continue to take in refugees and asylum seekers, it's, you know, it's
crazy.
It's crazy.
But dig what I'm saying, right? Not against what you're saying at all. I haven't picked a side. I haven't said whether I was for or against what he about to do. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is, it's too much of confusion around something that has been a regular issue that should have had some form of solace at this point. And the reason that it doesn't is because it's a big enough issue to keep throwing back and forth like a volleyball every time you need votes.
Yes.
Now, I'm empathetic to all of the people that need asylum. I don't understand enough to know how many of them we can actually take care of and we can't. You know, I see a lot of people that's homeless and that's struggling around where I live at and where I be at. So I could just imagine the rest of the country, but I know that there's, you know, it might, hey, figure it out. But if we can't figure it out, then what does that say about being the greatest country in the world? Like what are we doing? This is weird.
Right.
This is very strange. This should not be 2024 going into 2025, and this is a hot button topic.
Yeah.
This should have been figured out already.
Yeah.
It's really annoying to watch y'all keep putting stuff like this in front of us and making it the main issues when none of our main issues are being met, and then y'all having concerts instead of town halls. Y'all gotta stop. I said this on here before. Stop going to my grandma's church and talking at her and telling her you're gonna answer questions after and then leaving before the question time. Y'all get on my nerves with that. And he did come to Philly last week, and a lot of people that I respect and love was there, and Kamala was there, and it seems like it was a great time. But it was just talking at the people again. If you'd have talked to some of the people who I follow that was there in real time, or gave them a voice in that space, we'd have had a whole nother different type of event, and it'd have been way more productive, and it'd have been something for you to carry on when you go to Chicago. in Baltimore, in Detroit. I'm just saying. Am I wrong?
Nope.
Because I don't like getting political, but it gets weird, man, because the more and more we get engulfed in what we do here, the closer and closer we get tied into politics.
Yeah.
I've interviewed politicians. I've done events with politicians. I'm standing on stage next to politicians, right?
Mhm.
But when I go to these churches and we go to certain things, I don't feel like some of y'all is treating us right. And the ones I can talk to, I say it to. And I'll say it on camera to them. I've asked them at Glockaware. So when you go do, I hope you ain't doing this. That's what you doing? I've said it. But I'm sick of it in a real way because y'all rely on us so much and we're taken for granted. And I'm talking about my community. But y'all not addressing nothing that we care about in real time. And then homeboy running around just juicing his people up saying everything they want to hear. Treat us like a bad bitch for once. We would appreciate it.
And with that Ruger rant,
Ruger rants.
it's about time to get on out of here.
I don't want to go no. It's like, no. Appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. If you didn't comment while we was on, comment now, man. Ain't about none. I'm still replying as long as it's positive. Whoever homie was from Herbieville, hopefully you get out of that place, man. It sounds like a dangerous space. Shout out to everybody else that's doing dope shit. I seen Suzanne Christine post today that she performed for the Eagles. She would love to do it for the Phillies. So let's start that campaign. Let's get that going.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to the podcast boys. They just did a live show at
Yes.
Uptown Cafe, formerly known as Ruben's, a.k.a. My Living Room.
Give them that button.
Yeah, so... You know, salute to them. Salute to them always. Big supporters. But anything you need to tell people?
Make sure you guys tune in every Monday, 7 p.m. And then we also drop podcast episodes every Thursday at 4 p.m. with the greatest folks here in Philly and in the region, doing everything from entrepreneurship, music, acting, everything.
We just dropped the legendary joint with Meet Spady.
Absolutely. So go check
Billboard
that out.
charting artist, man.
Go check that out. And other than that, you can find me at Font Philly, PHANTPHILLY. Get with me and get your business right.
Yeah, man, do that part in that order. Shout out to all of y'all, man. We appreciate y'all in a real way. I don't want to get into my shout out bag, man, because I'll get emotional. There's been a lot lately. Y'all been showing a lot of love. But our numbers are going up, and we appreciate y'all for that. We do not take that for granted, trust me, because analytics is part of the business, and K is on it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see y'all Thursday and then see you again live Monday next week, because this is what we doing right now.
Sippin', I'm 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 sippin'.
And also, this is Sippin' with Sammy. I am Mr. Fly Shit Only, the one and only Sippin' with Sammy, Sam Malone, Barstool Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammy, you ain't sippin' right. Please get your fucking life.
Damn, Sammy, you done fucked up.
Fucking yuppie transplants. Move the fuck out. Get out of our fucking city. You ain't even fucking born here. Tired of you motherfuckers.
Yeah.